In this lesson, we are going to look at landmark detection. Also, this is one of the first example we are going to look at AI is getting something wrong. So like I said, AI is not like other programs. If-else condition, they can get things wrong. They can hallucinate. They are just like humans. If they are not trained on one particular input, they will not give you output for that particular input or that particular pattern. That's what we are going to see here. So that is something which is not going to work. So without further introduction, let's get into it. So this is the next example we are going to look at. Basically detect landmarks. Again, we will be using the same endpoint we have created with the same key. And in this case, the object we are creating is slightly different. It is computer vision client and slightly different package. So the pip required for this particular package is this. In case if you want any other package, like I mentioned before, you can simply search in Google msrest.authentication space pip install. Should give you the package required and you should get a string like this. Put it in your command prompt and you should be good to go, provided your Python installation is correct. Being said that, in this case, we are creating computer vision client object with the same endpoint and key, like so. In this case, we are using an array of image. Feel free to remove all this for loop and things like that. If you're not comfortable, we can simply straight away execute just like we did before. But in this case, the example, there is a for loop and an array of image. If you have followed my previous Python training, this should not scare you any more than the previous application we have seen. So we have an array of URL or images, and it is not a bad idea to have a look at the images first before we process it. So I'm gonna look into it. So the first is again a different image of Taj Mahal. Let's see the second one. This is the Sydney Opera House, and this is the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. And the fourth one is the London Bridge. The fifth one is also London Bridge from a different angle. Why there is two London Bridge, I'll show you or tell you shortly. There's a reason for that. So basically, Taj Mahal, Opera House, Golden Gate Bridge, and two London Bridges. So 5 images are there, and we have a for loop in which we are taking one image at a time and call this particular API analyze image by domain, and we are passing a domain called landmarks and then the URL. Pretty straightforward API. We'll have a look at the documentation of it, but for the time being, this is what we are doing, simply calling this API for each of those images we have seen. I'll put a breakpoint in line number 30 and 33 because those lines execute certain things like we have seen before in the results. If you want to put breakpoint at some different place, feel free. So what I'm going to do is start debugging, and this is the first image, which is the Taj Mahal. So we have found a landmark. So if you want, we can look at the results directly. So this is the result. So right click at watch. Again, our action is pretty similar when it comes to watch. We ignore this first two and look at everything until the underscore things comes up. So additional properties is pretty empty. Metadata, model, version, request ID, and things like that. Then the result, the actual result, we have one landmark in the result, and that's indeed Taj Mahal. Let's see the confidence level and things like that. So confidence level 1 means that it is 100% sure that it is Taj Mahal. Very accurate, 100% confidence on an image. So the model knows exactly it is a Taj Mahal. Very good, 100% confidence. Now we are printing it out, Taj Mahal right here, and then we don't have anything else. We're going to the next image. So I'm pressing F10 and F5 alternatively. If you want to go into more granularity, feel free. This is the next image. This is the image of Opera House. Let's see the result. Again, there is only one landmark. As you can see, it is the Sydney Opera House. Very high confidence, almost similar to the previous one, 0.999. Very high confidence. Very good. Model is almost sure that it is Sydney Opera House, and it is indeed Sydney Opera House. Again, going ahead, we are not going to do anything. We printed Sydney Opera House, and going ahead, let's see, the next one is Golden Gate Bridge. Result, landmarks, only one landmark we found. Golden Gate Bridge, all good. Let's see the confidence level. Again, very high confidence, 98% confident, 0.98, very high. And we are printing, and what we are interested interested is the next one. Next one is the model is not able to find out any landmark, although it is a very famous landmark, the London Bridge. The model is not able to figure out anything. The result is empty. There is no landmark. Length is 0. So it is not able to figure out what it is, the London Bridge. So we are going to try out a different angle image of the London Bridge. Let's see if it can figure out. So this is the 5th and last image we are trying. Again, London Bridge, it is not able to figure out. From both images, it is not able to figure out any landmark. So the reason is at this point in time, this particular model, there's a good chance that it is not trained on the images of London Bridge. In fact, with almost 100% confidence, it is saying that there is no landmark in the image, no landmark detected. That's what we are printing because the landmark array is empty in the result. So the length is 0 for both images. So the reason why we gave 2 images is that sometimes the pattern recognition detect certain different angle of the bridge. But in this case, both images failed, which means I assume that it is not trained on London Bridge. The model is not familiar with the London Bridge, while it is saying with almost 100% confidence the other 3 landmarks. So this is very common with the AI models. They are not always 100% true. In fact, as you can see so far, there is a confidence level with every result, which means that the failure chances, the percentage of confidence for everything, that's very common thing with AI, artificial intelligence, is just like humans. They are not always right. We make mistakes. So we will see this kind of things throughout this training. And when you write your production code, you need to handle this kind of situations. You need to test your model before you put it into production, making sure that it works in the scenarios you want to work. And always handle situations where it doesn't work as well. There are failure chances. We've been seeing that so far, and that's all I wanted to tell you about landmark detection. So we have seen landmark detection, and we have seen an example in which AI was not performing very well. We'll see more examples like this in which AI is not performing exactly as the way we want. We need to get used to it because that's part of the game we are playing here. It's not like the Python program with if-else condition. Things can get wrong. Things can hallucinate. Now let's get into more topics.